Good morning, friends. Hope you're doing well. We have a beekeeping video today. That is my main goal today. I am still not feeling very well, and so all I'm going to do with my mentor, thank goodness he's willing to help me, is to inspect my 2 hives and harvest honey. That will also involve potentially treating for mites because it's cold. We've got cold weather. I mean, for summer. It's mid-July and it is currently 58 degrees Fahrenheit and it is 9:15 in the morning. I know that the people who are struggling with massive heat right now don't want to hear that, and they're thinking, why are you complaining about cold? And I get that because normally we are extremely hot. But this unusually chilly weather does things. It makes the heat-loving plants like your tomatoes, your peppers, most of our flowers that are planted want to stop growing because it's hot. It's cold. It's not hot like they want it to be. So I'm going to do my best to film what we're doing today. I'm going to actually set up my phone on my tripod, but you know, it's a phone tripod. It's not super sturdy. And this is on a hill and it's really breezy today. It's actually really nice to put this bee suit on because normally I'm hot and sweaty in it, but today it's keeping me warm. We'll put the hat and everything on in a bit, but like I said, I'm going to do my best to film today, but with this being windy and uneven ground, I'm not sure. We'll see what's going to happen. I was thinking I could use this camera that we're filming on right now, but it doesn't film as long on like a single push as the phone does. The phone just kind of keeps going. It won't shut down unless it overheats. But the camera has a fixed time that it can make a clip. And so it would cut out in the middle of what we're working on. So I think I'm going to use the phone, hope for the best, see if I can get some place of level ground where I can set this up, and hope the wind doesn't knock it over. Somebody buzzing around my head. And hopefully you'll be able to see what's going on. The only sound we'll have, unless I do voiceover later, is going to be from the phone speaker. So I apologize for that. But yeah, logistics wise, unless you have somebody filming you, it's really hard to do this. Because I need both of my hands. All right. Can never remember how this. There we go. Okay. It's taken me a couple of years to figure out the most comfortable way to wear this bee suit. It's a little large. Didn't used to be, but now that I'm like 40 pounds less than I used to weigh, it's really bulky. It sags in the middle now, like sags, you know, in the crotch area, and so it's I can't get in and out of a car easily. All right, and I definitely have to put my hair in braids because otherwise when I zip up the veil, my hair gets stuck in the zipper, and as you can imagine, that doesn't feel very good. All right. Now we just wait for Jamie to arrive. I could get a smoker going. Maybe I'll do that. I'm sure he's going to bring a smoker as well. His seems to run longer than mine does, but having 2 going would be a good thing. And I'm also going to grab my watering can, fill it with water, and bring it over there just in case, because it's a windy day today and my hives are in dry grass. So I want to have water immediately available so that in case the smoker somehow triggers a brush fire, we can put it out right away. So what we are doing here is we are taking apart this 8-frame hive that's in between the two 10-frame hives. There are no bees living in this hive. It's completely empty. And we are taking out frames from the medium boxes here to use in the other hives. They are fully drawn comb. They look really good. We don't have wax moth or anything like that. And so we're going to take these out and use them because already drawn comb means less work for the bees.
They're so good so far, so the bees will go right after this and
Fill it.
yep.
So here, Jamie's lifting the honey super off. It's extremely heavy, and I had to pry off the queen excluder. It did not want to come off. And what you see there is what we're assuming will be a medium brood box. We smoke the bees to get them to go down so that we don't crush anybody, because when you crush the bees, they release a pheromone that signals alerts to everybody else, and that's when they start to get angry. So we're going to start taking out frames and looking. We won't take them all out, but we're going to take them out so that we can see how things are looking. So this is a brood box, but there is a lot of honey on the outside frames and no brood. So we are taking those frames that were just honey, and we are giving them new frames that have drawn comb so that they can fill them up with, so the queen can fill them up with brood. And Jamie's showing me, what the brood pattern looks like. We were seeing some uncapped brood, like it had been capped and then it was uncapped, and that generally happens when there is a lot of mite activity, and the bees then uncap that brood so that the brood dies because they don't want new bees with mites. So that's the other reason we decided to treat today, because we saw evidence. Not so much, we did see a few mites, but for the most part, you see the evidence of the mites. So in maybe 2 weeks, I should come back in and just investigate areas that we hadn't investigated, just to kind of keep it more open and less propolis and stuff like that.
I think they will be okay. I mean, you can if you can go deeper, but if you do, I would go all the way down there first. Don't, because you'll just piss. They'll be pissed by the time you get down there.
Yeah. So as we are giving them additional frames, we are basically what we call checkerboarding them. So we're putting, old frame, new frame, old frame, new frame across the 10 so that they have space to fill, and they also still have plenty of brood. It is encouraging them to fill out all those empty frames with brood because they have brood next to them. But not typical. Definitely like my tomatoes are slow.
Yeah.
Peppers are really slow. Just not. Okay, so we're going to put the queen excluder back on. We're going to smoke first because we don't want to squash a bunch of bees. So again, the smoke makes them go down, away from the smoke, into the hive. And then it helps you put the queen excluder or another box or whatever back on top without crushing a bunch of bees. First, Jamie's going to try to clean up a bunch of wax that has built up on the top of the hive frames. That makes it easier to seal up the hive appropriately. So he's just scraping that off with a hive tool.
Then you pay for the. But when I squish them. Yeah, split the drawn frames between the two.
Yes.
kind of in a checkerboard.
So here I am giving them an empty box. I mean, it's a box with frames in it, but those are empty frames. And we're alternating checkerboarding again with drawn comb, not drawn comb, etc., so that they are encouraged to start using this box. Now we're getting ready to harvest the first of the honey supers. And we have taken out a few of the frames from the new honey super so that we can shake bees into it more easily. So it's super, super heavy. Now we're just putting Jamie's putting those frames back in. And then we will put the inner cover on, and then we will put the outer cover on.
I don't know what I did before I was beekeeper, because I do bees every day now. And if I don't do it, I miss it on a daily basis. I'm crazy. Okay, what am I forgetting? Nothing?
Now the only question is, are we going to have enough space, enough frames for this
Western
second hive? Now this is the bigger hive, has more bees. So we wanted to not do as much taking apart because we really didn't want that many bees going crazy. Well, that was a successful honey harvest. Wow. Nice looking ear of corn there. We got almost 30 frames of honey. Woo, it's going to be an intense extraction day. And the reason I'm still wearing this is that there are definitely a few angry bees. My fault for not having been in that hive for months. And so they've built up a ton of propolis and wax and all that stuff, and makes it really hard to get in there. You're really breaking apart a lot of their home. And so they get angry. But I think Jamie got stung once. I didn't get stung, although knock on wood, I could still get stung when I go back to the car and take this off. But yeah, so really good harvest. We did treat for mites. It looks like it's going to be cool enough for the next couple of days. The mite treatment needs to stay on for 2 weeks, 14 days. If it's going to go above 80 degrees in any of those days, then I need to remove the treatment strips. But otherwise, we are good. They're both queen right hives, meaning they both have queens. They're laying brood, and they were very, very honey heavy. So I think they will be very happy to have extra space. We took out some honey frames from the brood nest boxes and gave them empty frames. Well, actually some frames that had drawn comb so they can she could just start laying. And we put, entirely empty frames in the new honey super. Now, once I extract all this honey, then those frames will be what we call wet. So they'll be empty of honey, but they'll still have comb, drawn comb, which is great because that's energy the bees don't have to expend on making wax. So what I'll do then is I will put those frames back in a honey super and stick them on top of the inner cover and underneath the outer cover. And the bees will go up and they will clean out all of those frames, and they'll take all the honey that's left and they'll end up being dry, pulled comb frames. And I think I can then take those off and use them next year. Because over the winter, we generally reduce the number of boxes we have so that the bees have less space to heat, because the brood nest is much smaller over the winter. Queen's not laying as much. And so as long as they have resources like honey and pollen, and we can give them pollen patties if they need them, which we might have to do. This is going to be a super El Nino year, which means we should be getting lots and lots of rain. Lots and lots of rain can be a good thing, but it also means the bees can't fly. So that means they're not eating. So we provide them with extra pollen in the form of pollen patties to get them through the winter so they don't starve. Okay. I think they've probably settled down enough that I can derobe and get this honey harvest home. I'm not extracting today. That is going to be a huge job. Huge job. But when we get home, I'll take the tubs out of the car and lift the lids and show you what it looks like. We are back home, and foolishly, I lifted these boxes of honey by myself. It's a good thing I work out. I think one of them probably weighs 70 pounds and the others are about 50. Anyway, this is what they look like. So this one, oh boy, it's all sticky on the outside from my gloves touching it the whole time. So what we do is we take the individual frames out of the hive, and then you shake. Oh, there's a bee in there. I'm going to close her back up. Then we shake. Actually, I'll leave that lid right like that. She can get out. Anyway, we shake the bees off of the off of the frame. And then I have a little feather duster that I use to wipe the rest of them off. Then we put them in these tubs and we seal them up in between each round so that we can try to keep the bees from going back into the boxes. You can see all that wet honey down there coming out. It's just already leaking out. But yeah, each one of these frames is quite heavy. They are capped and it looks really good. So we're going to get a huge honey harvest out of this. Did she escape? Nope, there she is. Come on out, lady. You don't want to be in there. Oh, there's two of them in there. Okay, I'm going to leave that open for a minute. Problem is, if I leave it open for too long, other bees in the area will smell it and come in. Yeah. Do you want to fly away? Do you want to fly away? All right. You know what? There's going to be plenty of oxygen in here. I'm going to leave them in there for the time being, so they don't get stuck in our garage. Okay, so that's going to about do it for our video for today. The honey extraction process, I've done this on videos before, but I'll do it again when I do this in a day or two. You know, involves using a centrifugal force and a lot of filtering, and then we get beautiful honey. I don't know that I have enough jars for it at this point, so I need to go through, see if I have the jars, place an order for jars, because most of the honey that we harvest, we sell. And so we're not saving the jars over so much. We have a few that I've saved over that we have eaten, but you always have to replace the lids because the lids come with a seal. And so, you know, you can wash the jars because they're glass, but you need to get new lids. So I need to do an inventory before I'm going to harvest any of this. It is fine like it is in a cool garage with the lids on. They'll be just fine. They're in the way, but they're fine until I extract. So I need to make sure I have all my supplies, because you don't want to extract all the honey and have it sitting in a giant 5-gallon bucket, even though it has a lid on it, you know, and not being jarred up. I just rather leave them all capped and sealed until I'm ready to do that. So anyway, thanks so much for hanging out today. I hope you found that interesting. It is a lot more fun when you have somebody to do it with. And he's been my mentor since the beginning, and really has taught me a lot. But I have dropped the ball this year. Seriously dropped the ball. Should have been in there multiple times between when we moved them in, I think, March and now. They're fine, but you know, when you, like I said, when you go for so long without investigating, then they you know, build a permanent home. And then when you go in to investigate, first of all, it's really challenging to get in there because you have to scrape away a lot of propolis and stuff. And then that feels invasive to them, which, yeah, and they become angry. So, you know, that's my fault. So in 2 weeks, I'll go in and check on those Formic Pro strips. They might be completely gone by that point, but I just want to make sure. And then probably do an inspection in the brood nest just to make sure everybody's still good, because we didn't go down into that bottom box today. They were already angry. So, yeah, so that's that. Thanks so much for hanging out today, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.